In this video, we're talking about INTPs and INTJs as the Enneagram Type 5 and a couple of the differences that I was thinking about and wanted to express and see if they hit the mark. What's up, Demas? Sherman here from Geek Psychology. Welcome back. I was thinking about this late last night. Actually, I couldn't go to sleep for whatever reason, and my mind was racing through INT stuff and Enneagram Type 5. So I'm going to go into this video expecting that you understand it a little bit, and it's kind of just a free exploration of some of the differences and some of the different approaches that I'm seeing from my perspective. I am an INFP and a type 9, so it's not necessarily my home world, right? But I would say that I am a 945, which means that I spend some time in that 5 realm. But talking just a little bit about Enneagram Type 5, from my understanding, it's a lot about taking in knowledge, information, so that you are protected. And that's where I want to kind of stop with that. And from there, let's look at the INTP and the INTJ and their understanding of knowledge and information and what that is. So I'm going to focus on TI for the INTP and NI for the INTJ, and the different understanding of how to solve problems, I suppose, with information, with knowledge. So if you look at John Beebe's 3-word kind of definition, I suppose, of what the different cognitive functions are looking for, within TI, you see that there's like defining and clarifying, and basically one of the other words was understanding. Okay, so understanding is the one that I want to focus on there. For the NI side of things, for the INTJ, I guess INFJ as well, but whatever. Sorry. For the NI side of things, it's more about knowing and divining, as he said. So knowing and understanding are the key words that I want to just look at a little bit here. So for the INTPs, using TI, using this scientist, I know I've been like throwing out a bunch of different like short codes and stuff. Hopefully you've been keeping up and I haven't just completely lost you and you've gone cross-eyed. But if you're watching this, you're probably into this stuff too, right? So TI, this kind of scientist energy that wants to understand things. Not know them necessarily, but to understand. Wants a clear cut, defined, categorized, organized knowledge, understanding of all the things. And that preoccupation with that, I suppose, or that fixation on it from the Enneagram Type 5 especially, is going to be how they protect themselves from the outer world. Like it's this way of maintaining a safety zone, right? And when things get a little too close, you can pull out that information. You're protected. You're safe, I suppose. You've refined and clarified all this information, and you know it. You understand it. I know I keep going back and forth between knowing and understanding, but they're a subtle difference to me. For the TIs, you're probably like, no. Like there's a clear difference in there, just pay attention. But anyway, so this scientist that's digging into the depths of this information because they want to understand it to the nth degree. They want to have all that information set together. They want to know, I think somebody mentioned in the comments, in a different video, somebody mentioned in the comments that they wanted to know why the tectonic plates moved as they did, and like the fine minutia, the fine details about it all. Instead of like a TE approach, extroverted thinking, the commander would be just tell me what works and I'll use it. and we'll get to our goals, right? They might not necessarily think that that's what they're doing, but it's more on that side of things. Whereas the scientist, as you would imagine, is tinkering with all the different bits and pieces, right? Taking it apart, zooming in, and focusing on the little parts that nobody really pays attention to, so that they can have this fully fleshed out understanding. Now from there, if we go to the NI side of things, back to the seeker, this insightful or envisioning seeker who is going through and trying to know what is going to come, because that knowledge is going to protect them, is a little bit different than the understanding, right? So you see a lot of NJs, especially INJs, who just love exploring ideas, love researching to try to uncover knowledge. And this knowledge is going to be helpful someday. TI kind of has that too, right? So there's a lot of overlap, but they're both into problem solving, right? TI is going to take it apart and understand all the little bits and pieces. NI is going to more like shift the focus or focus in on different aspects until there's this like merging understanding of it, right? Because you have all these different points and they funnel into one knowing that's going to guide them through whatever activity they're doing, right? I just thought it was really interesting. I wanted to share it with people. And I wanted to get your feedback, your opinions on it, to see if I'm hitting the mark on how you are approaching this, if you are an Enneagram Type 5. And I know it's not like if you're not an Enneagram Type 5, you can't do this stuff, right? But NI and TI, in this case, are going to be used, I feel, for the goal of that Type 5, of maintaining their safety zone and their energy, and building this pool of knowledge or understanding so that they are safe, they're protected. One more thing I wanted to talk about was the FIRM model from Personality Hacker. Within that, they talk about the different, fixations of the different cognitive functions. And for the introverted, let's do introverted thinking types, introverted judging in general, is about rightness, right? It's about being correct with your subjective decision. I fully understand this as an INFP. I don't want to be questioned necessarily about my judgments, about my decisions, about my motives. I want people to see that as I do. Like, I have good intentions, I have good motives, so don't question it, because it's hard to explain as well. It's a personalized decision, right? And for introverted thinking, it's like that too. I mean, you might not always think that it's subjective, but it is, because it's within your own mind, right? Within your own head. And it becomes more difficult to express that. And because of that, you're going to want to be right. One, because you don't need to battle other people's opinions, right? You're just like, no, I am right. See? And then it's done, and you don't need to worry about it too much. Also, for rightness, introverted judging, like, if you make the wrong refined decision to that information, or with that information, or with those feelings and the belief system, or whatever it is, it's completely unbalancing and unsettling within your psyche, right? This is your dominant function. This is your hero. And if that's wrong, then, well, what are you, right? You have to go back into all the frameworks and pull them out, pull out all the wires and start from scratch and solder and fix all this thing. You got to go through the coding again and get out all the bugs. Oh, it's such a pain. And, sometimes that push or that fear is enough for introverted judgers to just not do things because you don't want to make the wrong decision, right? And I think that also comes into, I don't know exactly where I was going with that, but I think that also comes into the Enneagram Type 5. Because it's, with all this understanding, you're able to make more informed, more correct, accurate decisions. And because of that, you are going to be, your chances of being correct are going to be a lot higher. Does that make sense? For the NI side of things, it's a preoccupation with protection. And I've noticed this through my tertiary introverted sensing. And it kind of comes out in little different ways. But for introverted intuition, it's a protection against a wrong mindset, I would feel, and a protection against other people's mindsets that are tainted. So if you can see that coming from long enough away, then you are not going to be swept away in it. Right? You're not going to be manipulated by it or changed by it. And introverted intuition just has this way of like taking on other opinions, other perspectives, right? It's not always going to fully embody them, but it's there, right? I know INFJs can like just instantly start picking up on other people's emotions, right? Whether they want to or not. And INTJs, I would think it would be more with like technology or with more the objective realm of things, like how time is going to play out, how this plot of land is going to change, how these buildings are going to shift and become something different, futurism and stuff like that, right? And if you are being bombarded by other people's perspectives that you did not intentionally take on, you're going to get bogged down by that. You're going to get worn down by it. And there's way more to process, right? Like you're going to eventually, go back into your mind, into your meditative state or whatever it is, go into your head and shift the focus and go back through the sands and shift back and forth until you get those pieces of gold, those little gold nuggets, right? That show up, those insights. And I would imagine the more sand you add on, the more rocks, the more water, other people's perspectives in whatever way they come, is going to make that more difficult. Is going to muddy the water. It's going to cloud the picture, right? So I would feel that for an INTJ, as the Enneagram Type 5, that desire for a self-focused research is going to be the key, right? Is going to be the key connecting point between the Enneagram Type 5 and the introverted intuition seeker aspect. Does that make sense? So I know this was like a bouncy all over the place kind of video, but it was just something I wanted to talk about, something I wanted to try to get out. And I've said this before, I do want to make more videos like this that are just a little bit freer, me talking about my ideas and wherever they go. But it's difficult for me to do because I also really want to structure things and have like one little key point at the end, like take this away from the video and use it. It's your homework. It's your quest, right? But I know that not everything's like that. So anyway, I hope that the video was informative. This is my opinion on it, right? This is my piecing of how this would be working within the Enneagram Type 5. And please let me know, if you're an INTP or an INTJ, no matter what your type, like how does it work for you? And what's your opinion on knowing and understanding? All right. So see you in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Good luck. Have fun. Peace.